It's a new era in that two-tone blue. Whole state rising when they run on through. From the river to the ridge, here I shall roll to. Tennessee Titans, yeah, we're breaking through. Passing the review, bigger things in view. This is our time in that two-tone blue. Raise that flag high as you can. Every season's written in the hands of this band. We've known heartbreak, we've known almost. Now we're writing new chapters for the ones who want it most. It's a new era in that two-tone blue. Whole state rising when they run on through. From the river to the ridge, here they shall roll to. Tennessee Titans, yeah, we're breaking through. Passing the review, bigger things in view. This is our time, yeah. This is our time in that two-tone blue. New paint on the pylons, fresh name on the back of the jersey. Whole town humming on a Sunday. Like this time, it's our turn surely. Old ghosts in the rafters still talk about the days that we came close. But the huddle feels different now. Every eye locked, every jaw said, we all know. It's a new era in that two-tone blue. Whole state rising when they run on through. From the river to the ridge, here they shall roll to. Tennessee Titans, yeah, we're breaking through. Passing the review, bigger things in view. This is our time in that two-tone blue.
What's up, Titan Station? Welcome in to the What's Shakin' 615 podcast. I am your host, Lee Hillis, and today we are making and starting our 8-week series of Around the NFL. We're going division by division, but first, we just have to let everybody know that we are powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue. We're also powered by What's Shakin' Sports Media. But we also have to give a quick shout out to our partners over at SeatGeek. You can use our code 615podcast, that is 615PODCAST, and get $20 off your first order of $50 or more on SeatGeek.com or on the SeatGeek app. And as I said, we are starting our Around the NFL division by division. And if you can guess what division we're starting with, or if you can't guess what division we're starting with, here's a little hint. That is right. We are starting with the AFC North. And we're going and starting with the first team in this division. We're going to the Steel City. We're starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Key additions that they have this offseason. They bring back 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers on a 1-year, $22 million with up to $25 on incentives. They hire head coach Mike McCarthy. They trade for former Colts wide receiver Michael Pittman. Jaquan Brisker comes over from Chicago. Jamil Dean comes over to play in that secondary from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So with them hiring Mike McCarthy, you have to know the head coach Mike Tomlin resigned from being the head coach there in Pittsburgh. But they also released tight end Jonnu Smith. And you're probably wondering, well, Lee, how does this factor in on their schedule? Well, their schedule falls like this. Week 1, they open up with the Atlanta Falcons at home. Then they travel in week 2 to the defending AFC champs in the New England Patriots. They host Cincinnati as they begin division play. Then they go to Cleveland in week 4. Indianapolis rolls into town. Indianapolis rolls into Pittsburgh in week 5. They then go to Tampa Bay week 6, New Orleans in week 7. And then before their bye week, they host another division game against the Cleveland Browns. So they play the Cleveland Browns twice before their bye week. Then their bye week in week 9. Then weeks 10 and 11, they have back-to-back road games against another division opponent in the Cincinnati Bengals. So they play the Cincinnati Bengals twice before they even hit week 13. But then week 11, they go to a in-state rival to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Week 12, they host Denver. Week 13, Houston. Week 14, they go to one of our division rivals in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Week 15, they host Baltimore. Week 16, they host Carolina. Week 17, they come to Tennessee. Week 18, they host Baltimore. And you're probably wondering, what do I think the Pittsburgh record's going to be this year? I think Pittsburgh finishes 9-8. And in my opinion, that is the second best record in the AFC North. They win 6 games of their first 8. 6 of their first 8 games before the bye week. After the bye, they only win 3 games between week 10 and week 18. So if you want to read through, if you want to see who I have the Pittsburgh Steelers winning against and losing against, you can take and pause it right here. But we're going to continue on to the city of Cincinnati, Ohio, to look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Key additions for the Cincinnati Bengals are defensive lineman Jonathan Allen, the trade with the New York Giants for the 10th overall pick. So in the trade with the Giants, the Bengals lose the 10th overall pick. So they don't even pick in the first round in the 2026 NFL draft. But in return, they get, in my opinion, a really good defensive interior player in sexy Dexy Dexter Lawrence. But in the second round, they also draft Texas A&M edge rusher Cassius Howell. And a key loss that happened just a little less than a month ago, they lose linebacker Logan Wilson to retirement. And they don't, in my opinion, they do not have a favorable schedule. The Bengals, week 1, open up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They then go to Houston, go to Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. That's their first 4 games. And then they go to Miami. Then their bye week. They then travel to Baltimore. And then they host Tennessee. But wait, here's more. Week 9, they head to Madrid, Spain to play the Atlanta Falcons. Week 10, they go to Pittsburgh. Week 11, they'll play the Washington Commanders. Week 12 and week 13, they're at home against New Orleans and Cleveland. Week 14, they're also at home against the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 15, they go to Carolina. Week 16, they go to Indianapolis. Week 17, they play Baltimore in Cincinnati. Week 18, they play the Cleveland Browns. As I said, I do not think this is a favorable schedule for the Cincinnati Bengals. I have Cincinnati also going. I have the Cincinnati Bengals going 8-9. So I had Pittsburgh going 9-8. I've got Cincinnati going 8-9. I think they lose their first 3 games. So they're 2-3 going into their bye week in week 6. Going into their game in Spain, I have them at 2-5. And then, of course, they go win back-to-back games, go to Madrid and beat Atlanta, come home in week 10 and beat Pittsburgh. Week 11, they go to Washington. I think they lose that game. Week 12, they beat the Saints, but then they turn around and lose to Cleveland and Kansas City. They go to Carolina, win. They go to Indianapolis and win. They lose to Baltimore, but they inevitably beat the Cleveland Browns. So I have Cincinnati going 8-9. But again, I just have to remind everybody that we are powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue. We're also powered by What's Shakin' Sports Media. And then, of course, again, we have to give a quick shout out to our partners over at SeatGeek. You can use our code 615podcast. That is 615PODCAST to get $20 off your first order of $50 or more on SeatGeek.com or on the SeatGeek app. And we're back. We have, of course, we are staying in the state of Ohio, but we're going up to Lake Erie to Cleveland, Ohio, to look at the Cleveland Browns. The Browns earlier this week traded away Myles Garrett, but they got a young pass rusher in Jared Verse in return. They hire Todd Monken after they part ways with Kevin Stefanski. Quincy Williams comes in to play linebacker. They trade with Houston to get Titus Howard. I don't think the schedule for Cleveland is favorable either, because of the trade that sends Myles Garrett to Los Angeles. So Cleveland's schedule stacks up like this: at Jacksonville, at Tampa Bay, Carolina, Pittsburgh, in that order for the first 4 games. And then they go to New York to play the Jets. They have the Ravens. They go to Tennessee to play the Titans. And then they go to Pittsburgh. Week 9, they're at New Orleans. And then starting week 10, they're home for 5 straight weeks. They play the Texans. They have their bye week in week 11. Week 12, they host the Raiders. Week 13, they host Cincinnati. Week 14, they host the Falcons. And then 3 of their last 4 games of the season are on the road. At the Giants, at the Ravens, Indianapolis goes to Cleveland, and then at Cincinnati. Well, you're probably wondering, what do you have the record prediction being for the Cleveland Browns? The same thing I had for the Cincinnati Bengals. I have Cleveland also going 8-9. But in vice versa, the first 5 weeks, I have them going 4-1. And then I have them going on to lose 3 straight to drop to 4-4. You're 5-4 before you play Houston, beating New Orleans. Then you go into your bye week at 5-5. Then you go 8-5 coming out of your bye week. And then you lose down the stretch at the Giants, at the Ravens, Indianapolis, and at Cincinnati. So I also have the Browns going 8-9. Now, to the team that we're really keeping an eye on in the AFC North, the Dirty Birds, the Baltimore Ravens. They signed Calais Campbell, who's 40 years old. Danny Pinter from the Indianapolis Colts, the center. Trey Hendrickson comes over from division rival Cincinnati. And they also hired Jesse Minter from the LA Chargers. And with them hiring Jesse Minter, you know they lost Jim Harbaugh to the New York Giants. And so you're probably wondering, again, Lee, what does Baltimore's schedule look like? Well, here it is. Week 1, they go to Indianapolis. They host the Saints. They go to the Dallas Cowboys. And they host the Tennessee Titans. Week 5, they host Atlanta. they go to Atlanta. Week 6, they go to Cleveland. Week 7, they host the Cincinnati Bengals. Week 8, they go to new Highmark Stadium to play the Buffalo Bills. Week 9, they host Jacksonville. Week 10, they host the Chargers. Week 11, they go to Carolina. Week 12, they go to Houston. Week 13, they have their bye week. Week 14, they host Tampa Bay. Week 15, they go to Pittsburgh. Week 16, Cleveland. Week 17, they go to Cincinnati. Week 18, they host the Pittsburgh Steelers. I do not like that back stretch where from week 15 to week 18, you're playing 4 straight division games. So every game from week 15 to week 18 matter. So where do I have Baltimore going? 15-2. The only 2 losses I have them taking are week 4 against Tennessee and then week 8 at Buffalo. And one more quick break away from the AFC North action. Just want to let you know that What's Shakin' 615 is powered by Bailey's Barbecue. Bailey's Barbecue, smoking good barbecue. And then we're also powered by What's Shakin' Sports Media. And then we have to give another quick shout out to our partners out at SeatGeek. You can use our code 615podcast, that is 615 PODCAST, to get $20 off your first order of $50 or more on SeatGeek.com or on the SeatGeek app. If you're going to any baseball games, and then of course with NFL starting back up, or if you're going to the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska, or if you're going to any of the World Cup games, you can use our code 615podcast on SeatGeek to get $20 off your first order of $50 or more. So now to the AFC North standings. Baltimore, I think they are the consensus number 1 seed in the AFC at 15-2. Pittsburgh at number 2 in the division at 9-8. Cincinnati 8-9, along with Cleveland at 8-9. And for some of the big storylines in the AFC North this year, 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers playing his final season. Does he go out a champ? Myles Garrett no longer in Cleveland. How does that defense look for the Cleveland Browns? Baltimore, can they go and run it again and make that trip for the number 1 seed, but this time hang on to it and make the run to the Super Bowl? And then last but not least, the Cincinnati Bengals. What are you going to do with that offense? Outside of Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, what does Cincinnati have? Take away Joe Burrow. What does Cincinnati have in that receiving core? They don't have anything. So this AFC North will be very interesting to watch. Behind Baltimore, what happens with Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland? What happens with those 3? So as we get ready to close this down, I want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out. And I just want to let you know, come back next Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central, or 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. And come hang out with us. Let your friends know as we go around the AFC North. Let your friends that are Lions fans, Bears fans, Vikings fans, and Packers fans know that we are taking a trip around the AFC North to talk about the AFC North and to see what happens this season in the NFC North. So, for Lee Hillis, and thank you for coming and watching the What's Shakin' 615. As I always say, Titans fans, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Stay classy and tighten up.